So this is the Radiant from Eazeye, and I have my issues with it. Firstly, the reflectivity of the screen, and they are going to sort that before launch. They're going to put a matte screen protector on it, but as you can see, matte screens, they don't always guarantee you obliterating glare, especially in the full sunlight. But right now, you can probably see on some of the footage, the reflections of the clouds and the reflections of me, they're actually too distracting. So you're having to squint through those. I'm constantly having issues also about it just kind of waking up and connecting to my laptop. Now, that might well be my laptop's fault rather than its fault, but I plug in my Samsung phone and it goes straight into DeX mode. So that's what I'm showing to you now. I'm showing you the Radiant on DeX mode, which is working really quite well. And you've got a touch screen as well, so that's cool. But there's just friction there because I want to use it as a second screen for my laptop, and it just takes a bit of time to get sorted. I can always go ahead and plug it into a power source and then HDMI, that always seems to work. But the USB just seems a little bit temperamental, really. Not what I'm used to with USB-C screens, where you can often just plug them in and the computer instantly recognizes them and makes them your extended desktop. And also, I'm constantly having to adjust the lighting settings. It is a TLCD screen, so it has reflective properties, but also has a backlight. And I'm constantly having to adjust the little settings here with this much too small little selector here. You can use the touchscreen on it, but the little menu is very difficult to get right. You're constantly changing the settings between it being too dark, not enough contrast, too much contrast, and it's always quite difficult to read text on colored backgrounds. It's very difficult to get a natural looking color on it, so that's its limitations. But here in its natural element, in the full sun, you can see actually there might be a use case for it. And it is very low power as well. So in the bright radiant sun for outdoor use, then yeah, it is more viewable than the OLED screen. It is more viewable than the P12 matte. So in the emissive display, this is 400 nits, not the world's brightest thing. Sure, 1000 nit iPad might well do better than that, but still it isn't going to look as good as that in the full sun. And for contrast, the e-ink screen does much better in the bright sunlight. And now it's gone behind a cloud, so you can actually see the difference there, and it's still kind of usable, although my camera settings will be all off now, so I'll change them. And you can maybe see now why it needs that matte screen protector on it to actually sort of cut out those specular reflections, those images you're getting of the sky there. So if you need low power and you need outdoors, maybe it's a choice. Now, I wasn't actually going to make this review. I was actually thinking I had too much negative to say about it to make it a worthwhile review for you and to make it a worthwhile review for me actually bothering to make. But then I had a call with Lewis and I just wanted to sort of take the time to tell a bit more about his kind of brand story with Eazeye here. He likes doing crowdfunding. He's not aiming to make these products that are going to be massive production runs. He's actually enjoying just saying, right, here's a thing I can make at this price. It might be a bit expensive, but if it fits what you need, then I can sell it to you at that price. And that's the sort of purpose of crowdfunding. It's an interesting idea. And because of that, you can see on the crowdfunding page that actually he's responded to a lot of people's criticisms after the first set of reviews. And they are going to put the anti-glare matte screen. They are going to make sure the wireless is working properly with phones. They are going to include VESA markings with 4 holes. And so at the minute it's only got 2 holes on the back. And they're also going to add in a folio stand, which makes sense because if you're using this out and about, you don't want to be carrying around this heavy stand here. So you could leave that on the desk and then you could have the folio stand for more portability. And also they're going to ship it with a much better instructions manual, which I think it needs because you don't want this kind of do-it-yourself kind of set, right? Here's your thing, see if you can get it to work in your setting. And they've got a track record of that. So the first Eazeye monitor, they changed the hinge and they improved the magnets after criticism on reviews. They made sure they were better informing their customers on how to get the best out of it. They improved the stand and they shipped it with longer cables. So they do actually respond to these things. So Eazeye, it isn't going to be cheap to get something bespoke. But if low power and outdoors is what you need, this is something that works. But for your use in the home office indoors, I think there's too many flaws in it. It's too difficult and you're going to go back to using either e-ink or an ordinary LCD screen.